Hey guys, Dazzler Magic here, and once in a while a company will do something and then just stop talking about it, making a big sensationalist, front row, let's talk about this, let's dig this back up statement months later. But Mark Rosewater, oh yes, made an article called Designing for Universes Beyond, and what it should just say is justifying universes beyond. Now, he will throw shade. It's not even like a backhanded compliment or veiled sarcasm. No, he's like, hey, I don't agree with this. Deal with it. Publish it. And they do it. But lately, even he seems either more delusional than usual or just completely in cover your job mode because he's probably seen the sales numbers. So I'm shocked that he did this, but I guess to back up, Universes Beyond is where they're taking third-party IPs and throwing them into Magic on Magic cards. That's really all there is to it. Warhammer, Lord of the Rings, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw The Matrix, although not after their numbers in the last movie. You want to sell some stuff? 90s cartoons, okay? You know what your demo is. I've seen the numbers. So he goes on, hype it up, Warhammer 40k, because everybody actually is hyped about that. That one's actually working. I can maybe think of one Secret Lair that did pretty good. I don't remember which one, but I remember one doing pretty good that was a tie-in. Definitely was not The Walking Dead. Other than that, boy, they are going to just keep mentioning this one from now until forever because nothing else has worked. It's all fallen flat. Well, I guess the D&D one, but Wizards of the Coast makes D&D, and they're acting like it was, a peace agreement with North Korea to finally get those two to work together. You're in the same building. It's actually amazing that you couldn't get your crap together until now. So, he says, well, let's start with the advantages. Number one, it introduces Magic to a new audience. Yeah, they're trying to pull people in. What are people supposed to play? I'm curious about that. The onboarding experience, as they call it in the industry for Arena, is terrible. The upfront cost is garbage. The tutorial is great, but after that, it's like you need to buy so many packs to catch up. You might as well just drop $100 right now, and there ain't no game in the world that costs $100 that's worth it. And then standard and paper? Even I couldn't track what's going on. Half the time, the computer can't track what's going on with that many triggers. Even with the stuff that happens automatically, people constantly make mistakes, even in the Mythic League. It is embarrassing how overcomplicated the game is, and the stack of 100 triggers, and they each have unique targets. So standard is out, and what are you going to teach them, Commander? With 40,000 cards worth of unique triggers and unique abilities? No thanks. That's not very new person friendly. So it's going to get them in the door. Well, they're leaving through that same door 5 minutes later. Okay. So that's, you got to fix the game first. Then you attract people to it. You do it in reverse order. You just completely blew your only chance at a first impression. So he is completely wrong when he says, this introduces Magic to a new audience. In other words, marketing. I mean, that's all it is. And it is so in poor taste and poorly timed and backwards. I'm not even going to read what he said. Advantage number 2. Top-down designs can lead to new design discoveries. Let me translate that. We're out of ideas, but if we reach into someone else's work and kind of copy it, we might come up with something new. So what he really put is, I often talk about how we try to start each Magic design from a new vantage point. Yeah, that's been working so well. How about a vantage point of make standard simplistic, approachable, and fun, and lower powered, and fair, and balanced? There's a vantage point. Try that one. You haven't tried that one yet? I can tell. The key to being creative is finding new ways to approach designs so we can end up with cards, mechanics, and themes we've never made before. New IPs are a great way to do this. It gives the designer a clear target to hit. What they could do is have it totally open-ended and do absolutely anything they wanted and then just kind of make it fit, I want to see something loosely based on the Oblivion DLC, the number one DLC of all time if you ask pretty much anyone. That's right, Sheogorath's realm. Well, we got the super mania people and the super depressed, boring, low energy people. I want to see Chaos versus Order too, which is kind of what it was a little bit. It could be half a plane versus the other half of the plane, and then they got to work together to stop a threat, and they're separate, but they deal with each other. I always thought that would be cool. It's not explored in very many video games. But it's a Hollywood trope. It's the straight guy, as they call it, the one who plays it straight, and the wacky bonkers person, and then they got to team up in a buddy cop movie or something. It just works, and then see if they did that, you could do all the characters you want, all the mechanics you want. It's your own thing. You don't have to take someone else's idea and say, hey, that would be cool, Magic card. Whoa. Oh, this character shoots fireballs. We should do that. That may be the worst example I could ever possibly come up with, but pretend I came up with a better one. So he gives an example. For example, Ethan Fleischer, by the way, and his design team made a brand new mechanic called Squad for the Imperium deck that I could see us using in the future. Really? I mean, you already did banding. You've already done, really? Enlist? I don't even know what Squad does, but Coven, I mean, squad's got to just be a group of people. Like I said, I haven't seen it yet. Oh, he says it. Whoops. For those unaware, squad is a creature mechanic that lets you pay an additional amount of mana any number of times, multi-kicker or strive, to make token copies of that creature. That's literally just strive. There were multiple cards that did that exactly precisely. Come on. They really needed the Warhammer 40k universe to come up with that. That is such a stretch, I feel like even he doesn't believe it. Advantage number 3, it gives us access to a lot of resonance. Oh god, all these terms. He thinks he's so fancy, he thinks he knows how to do his job because he hides behind a bunch of terminology that he made up. So as I often talk about in this column, resonance is an important resource for Magic design, any game design really. If you want players to emotionally bond with your game, then stop pissing them off, ruining the game, power creeping it, and hitting them in the wallet and then squaring the balls. Oh, I misread that. He actually put, comma. You want to make components that speak to them. One of the easiest ways to do this is to tap into things they already care about. That's the same as number 1. Oh, we're going to hook in a bunch of other fans who used to play Magic will come back because we put their favorite crap on a card. Yeah, well, it's not durable. They're not going to stay, okay? Fix the core, make the promotion later. He does not understand this. So, he did mention, yeah, a lot of 40k players are like into Magic or whatever. Okay, cool. Yeah, he's not wrong. It's easy. It's a total softball pitch, and I don't know why he's patting himself on the back, looking at everything else they're doing lately and how badly the game's failing. So, advantage number 4, it pushes Magic's boundaries. How the hell is that an advantage in anything but Mark's own head? Everybody who's worked there like over 10 years is so bored with like the same old, oh, it's just a new reiteration of this, we just keep doing the same thing, that they start doing wacky, crazy stuff thinking, I'm going to get fired if I don't come up with something new, when we really, like, first of all, nobody has been playing the game longer than like that. So if you want to repeat something that came out even like 7 years ago, in all likelihood, people didn't play back then. People come and go all the time. So to put it bluntly, Mark, just because you have seen it before doesn't mean anybody else has. And we do want lower powered standard. If you want to do some crazy experimental stuff, do it in the higher powered formats. Do Commander Horizons or Eternal whatever. So once again, he's completely wrong there. I'm never going to read what he wrote because it's just so bad and so incorrect. So then he gets into not disadvantages, which would be the actual antonym of advantage. No, challenge. Challenges, guys. Challenge number 1. Colors don't always balance. Okay, Warhammer 40k and a bunch of other stuff they've done, the factions are balanced. That's ridiculous. These are Eternal formats, not... Well, I guess, yeah, he wants to make these draftable, but this is a 40k Commander set mostly. Okay. But, like, the Lord of the Rings set, yeah, I could see that, maybe. But you're only borrowing the IP, the artwork, the names. You can put whatever you want on the card. You can substitute every name and every card art and still have it be Magic. You're just putting a pretty face on it. So the whole, the colors don't match. Well, great. If it would have been anything else, you would have screwed it up just as badly if that was the problem. Challenge number 2. The other IP's concepts don't always line up with Magic's color pie. I barely even need to explain this, but yes. Oh, there's more than 5 factions? Oh, there's less than 5 factions? There you go. And he goes on for paragraphs about this one. Keeps mentioning Warhammer 40k, Warhammer 40k, Warhammer 40k. Okay, great. Yeah, we get it. They have more than 5 teams. Shut up. And he did mention, like, oh yeah, the colors don't always line up, where it's like the typical color identity doesn't match up with who you're assigning it to. Yeah, that's a problem, but I've got an idea. Come up with your own ideas and stop doing this. So challenge number 3, the right mix of creatures doesn't always exist. I'm curious what he said about this one. A related problem to the color problem is what we call the creature grid problem. Whenever we're making a new Magic plane, the creative team fills out a chart called a creature grid that covers all the colors from small to large. Every Magic set is going to need each color in each size. It's not true. Green is bigger, red is smaller, but okay. So when building Magic planes, that's baked into the creative process. As with color, that's not a priority necessarily for other IPs. So it's not always something they do. In fact, for a lot of IPs, having a lot of creatures, does he realize they're making a commander deck anyway? At all isn't something they're concerned with. Well, then don't choose that one. Choose a different faction. Split the colors differently. Make a 4-color set. Who cares? You do it all the time for Commander anyway. Many IPs are focused on a handful of humans, so having enough creatures to fill out a product can be a challenge. Then pick a different IP. Luckily with Warhammer 40k, we didn't have this problem because it's a game and has a need for a wide variety of creatures to suit its own purpose. It's a great fit for Magic. You literally just got done crapping on it for like 9 paragraphs in the other 2, but sure, I'll pretend you didn't just write that. Challenge number 4, it's missing a mechanical necessity. Once again, you're slapping names and characters and art onto existing card ideas. Yes, they're based on the game, and you go a little further than that. It's not just a reskin. It's not, oh, you're playing Fortnite and you're dressed as Batman, but none of your abilities are Batman, you know? You're still running around with a gun. It's just a skin and it means nothing. That's not Magic. Well, it is for the secret layers. Used to be true. Now it's new cards. Hooray. But he does mention stuff like, well, some intellectual property groups don't have a lot of flying creatures in it, so what are we going to do for that? Can't make up your own thing. I wonder if one of the challenges in the future is going to be not enough people know enough about it and we keep making constant mistakes, because I'm just waiting for that. They hire these people called like lore masters or whatever, and they get out like the full hidden guides and they have someone approve it, and like Nintendo's like the craziest about this with like Pokemon and stuff, where you cannot come up with anything new. You got to stick to the last 20 plus years of everything they've done. No veering off course. And I would assume with the amount of money involved and who they're targeting here, they're not gonna screw with Lord of the Rings, except oops, they just race swapped one of the characters, so oops, bad example, oops. They are doing their own thing, because nothing matters more than politics and virtue signaling, making yourself feel good with your white savior complexes. Why, that's even more important to society than money. Oh, why are we going bankrupt? Oops. Get woke, go broke, bitches. Anyway, you kind of get this. He's like, well, we can't reprint a giant growth because what if the IP doesn't have large creatures or creatures that change in size? He says other things, but this goes on for a while. So challenge number 5, Magic can't represent a core concept of the IP. The problem is a reversal of the last one. Sometimes another IP has a core component that just doesn't make any sense as a Magic card. For example, let's say we were going to do a full My Little Pony set. You better not. As opposed to the 3-card charity set we did a while back. Yeah, we all try to forget that. The core of the My Little Pony IP is friendship. And while friendship is Magic, it's not as easy to be Magic. And then Magic, they capitalize the M, Magic the Gathering, get it? They're making a joke, but my gosh. It's a quirky concept to capture in a game based on conflict. Magic has a decent amount of expression, but it's still limited to 7 card types. And, well, that's not true. Make a new card type. And has to make sense in a game where you attack one another. So is that a no on the Teletubbies then? Anyway, while dealing with other IPs, it's often possible to hit ideas that don't easily express themselves in the way Magic makes cards. Oh yeah, poor you, your life is so hard. Then don't pick that IP or just stop doing this. How about that? The advantages don't outweigh any of the problems singularly, let alone collectively, that you just mentioned. Challenge number 6, cards get locked in earlier. Yeah, cards get changed over time, blah, blah, who cares? Most of this crap is outside of standard, so once again, who cares? As long as you keep it under the crazy high power bar, people are just going to be like, well, that's interesting. So lock it in. You don't have to worry how carefully balanced it is, as long as it's not like outrageously overpowered. You don't want a 0-drop colorless that says, flip a coin, if heads you win the game, if tails you lose the game, because that would just be stupid. So don't do that, but do almost anything else. Challenge number 7, reprinting cards gets trickier. Well, then don't do that. Oh, that's right, they're obsessed with value in secondary market and blah, 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 blah. He's mostly saying secret layers. Because remember, we're talking about secret layers here. Yeah, Lord of the Rings and Warhammer 40k. I don't think there's been anything else. All the rest he's talking about secret layers. So no joke, while I get it, that would be a little bit hard. But yeah, you're trying to make one thing, like a square peg fitting a round hole, and you got to really cram it in there, and it's going to look like crap by the time it's done, and maybe it'll resemble something playable, but not really. Apparently, while designing the 40k products, Ethan and his design team found one creature from Magic the Gathering's history that they could reprint. With all the warriors, soldiers, giant mechs, constructs, vehicles, they were able to reprint one creature. Did they even try? Well, if you're only going to reprint stuff that's valuable because people are value chasers and you can't, power creep and ramp and, new bar everybody in every format because the commander players just stopped listening to you and are just doing their own thing. Yeah, it's sad to say, but almost every set they make now has to be a partial master set. It has to have money reprints to prop it up and have this baseline value. It just does. Or it won't sell well enough in their opinion. And finally, challenge number 8, additional concerns need to be addressed, which could mean anything. What the hell? Let's read it. It's the last one. When interacting with other IPs in universes beyond, we have to address both the concerns of Magic and the concerns of the other IP. Really? How is that not number 1? It's important when handling someone else's IP that we're sensitive to the issues of that. Yeah, in other words, you have to know it, you have to study it, you got to run it by them. then don't work with Nintendo. Trust me, they never will. There's no way they would ever. People like in the industry know, don't work with Nintendo. Don't even try it. They are so arrogant and clueless and out of touch with their customers and just, I know best and I'm not going to listen to anyone. That is just how all the rich, douchey CEOs in that country do things. Some are out there doing it justifiably so, and some are out there just being clueless, and some are out there where the tie-ins are so out of date or poorly managed that you're going to get the IP wrong because there's no consistency and there's contradictions in it. So they've got a whole story coming out next Monday about, how did he put it? An article telling the design story of the product from Ethan Fleischer. Well, they are just patting themselves on the back so hard. They're like, you know, YouTubers where they make like one cooking video and then all of a sudden they make like 50 more because they're like, whoa, that got, 5 times the amount of views. I guess I have to do that again and again and again and again and again. It's pretty sad when like a music artist does it. It's almost as bad when a YouTuber does it. It's so transparent. They're just following the money. What they should do is make what they actually like, not just make, oh, we made a one-off one and it was not what I normally do, but it made money, so I'm going to do that now. Well, WotC had one success where people are actually hyped, people are actually talking about it, and people are actually coming into the Magic world saying, hey, what's going on here? It's a 40K product. I might be into that. So after 50 strikes in a row, they finally hit one, and they're just like celebrate. Like they got a single base hit that didn't get caught immediately in end the inning, and they're on first base celebrating with champagne. Everybody's looking at them like, you did one thing. It wasn't even a home run. You just didn't completely fail for once. And they're like, yeah, I know. I'm so excited about it. Maybe Mark should retire to go play baseball. He'd probably be better at it than designing Magic cards. So wow, this whole thing was just propaganda. All the disadvantages were more like, this was so hard, but we did it anyway. We're so great because this was a challenge. This isn't a downside. Like, some people hate it. Some people don't want us taking stuff and throwing it into the Magic Universe that isn't in the Magic Universe. If you recall, that was the reason they named it Universes Beyond, to make it absolutely clear that it was a different universe. It's such a transparent, tie-in, sponsored, whatever. Like, it just looks so bad. It's like the toy inside of McDonald's Happy Meal where you're like, oh yeah, it's from that one movie. Yeah, okay. Oh, look, Fortnite is having that one rapper get a skin and a emote and do a concert. Wow, I'm sure they did it because it's just so great and they wanted to do it. It's not just about money and more money, and then on top of that, money. That's just what this is. So the fact that this article even exists is just annoying to me, and that's why I wanted to share it with you, because just if that Mark had calmed down and stayed behind the scenes, no, he's just back out there being the very sad, very dead inside, very self-deluding, marketing cheerleader / court jester for WotC, and hopefully he retires soon. Although, have you seen Blake Rasmussen on live streams? You want to talk about dead inside, hating his job and trying to present stuff that he knows is false? He might as well be the press secretary for Biden with the way he's just like, I can't believe I just said that. I cannot keep a straight face through this. Compared to that, Mark is like a robot. Like, he's not even a human. But anyway, you get the gist. I'll see you guys next video.